Hey, nomads. Welcome to our community. I'm excited, very excited today because we are going to chat with a really good friend back in the Philippines and with food. Yes, we are gonna talk to Carla Perlas, one of my good friends, fellow journalist and marketing professional um, back there in the Philippines. Chat with her about passion, our passions about culture and food. So let's bring her in. Let me see. There you go. Hey, Carla, or Lacar to some of your friends,
Hi,
to a lot of your friends.
Carlo. Thank you
How
so
are
much for
you?
sending over this
Yes, yes. I always
puto
love
bumbong, puto bumbong
um
and
yeah,
bibingka. Ooh, I'm so
puto
excited.
bingka. Yes. Yeah, I wish I was there to try puto bumbong and bingka. We don't have it here in Madrid. Well, I think uh some stores they do from time to time, but not
Okay.
regularly. Unlike
Mm,
there in the Philippines, in Metro Manila, you can always have bibingka anytime you
yeah.
want.
Oh, and while
And
it's hot,
I know. Let's so let's see. Let's try. So you have first
the
puto
puto
bumbong.
bumbong. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm,
Can
mm,
I see how it looks like?
mm-hmm.
Puto bumbong. This is from Manam in Green Hills, right?
Yeah,
Manam restaurant. Yum.
it. The the purple logs
Yeah.
with
It's
um
legit.
with
It's
with
legit.
muscovado sugar, desiccated coconut, and cheese on top.
It's legit. Legit.
So
From from my side, I have Pinoy Filipino barbecue or barbecue
uh-huh.
Filipino style for non-Filipinos out there or anyone who hasn't tried Filipino food. Yes, we do have our own style of pork skewers.
Barbecue.
We call it
Yeah.
pork barbecue. And thank you to the restaurant, Caboodle. It's not a sponsor, don't worry, guys. But thank you for giving me the sausawan or the sauce with it. So
Is that vinegar?
vinegar with onion, a bit
Mm,
of onion, and I think there's some fish sauce, patis. Usually,
mm.
some restaurants they do put, or at home we do add fish sauce in our vinegar. So
Is there
when we yeah,
is there pepper?
so
What do you call
yeah,
it?
there's pepper.
Okay.
Yeah, black pepper at least. But yeah, our barbecue is one of my favorite Filipino dishes. The barbecue recipes. I think we really I mean, obviously, for any country, every country would say this. We have the best version of barbecue, but I think it's
Yeah.
one of the best barbecues. Um, well, at least for me. Mm.
Mm. Oh, I just had
Oh
a bite
wow,
of. Well, how was it? How was your barbecue?
perfect. Just as we say in Tagalog, may taba. There's
May taba.
fat.
Just enough
As
amount
we
of
say.
fat. I just
Exactly. You
had
know, like what they do, very specifically there in Manila, barbecue at ooh, I forgot the name of the restaurant. But Amber, for instance,
Ambers. Yep.
um,
Mang
Amber's,
inasal. You mean
Mang
mang inasal?
Inasal, and there's another one I forgot. But basically, there's like little fat in between the meat. That's like iconic. I guess Manila style restaurant, right?
Yeah.
Barbecue recipe. How's yours?
Oh my goodness.
Um,
I just had a bite of the bibingka. So it's
that's my fave too.
yeah, so this nice round bread baked in banana leaf, right? And
Yes.
whole, and then you have
Yeah.
butter and desiccated coconut, but you also have red egg on top. It's
Mm-mm.
perfect. It's a perfect combination of sweet and salty, and the texture of the soft, fluffy pastry with the the crunchiness of this desiccated coconut. It's an explosion. It's a party in your mouth. It's nice. It's really nice.
Yeah, I think again, I'm being biased here, but it's one of the best inventions of Filipinos. Bibingka. Why? Because
Yeah.
yeah, it reminds you of pastries, of pancakes, but it's so unique. It's its own
Mhm.
um I would say variation of pancake. It's rice, made of rice flour. So it makes it that makes it unique. And the flavor, no, like the butter. Mm, yeah,
And
I like how it's
the
very
red
Pinoy.
egg.
Also, the sweetness of it, right? And the
Yeah, the
and
salted
the
on top.
yeah, the combination of flavors, right? The extreme flavors, the salty, the savory, and sweet,
Mhm.
which we love so much.
Yeah. Which is so Pinoy.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. Oh my!
True.
I ate that really fast, but yeah, um, this barbecue from. So I mean, this is actually a really good um I would say, I mean, story for people out there. I mean, being Filipino abroad, actually, we're quite lucky because in most cities, I would say big cities, you will always find a Filipino restaurant. Filipinos are very entrepreneurial.
Mm.
If not restaurant, you will always find them on Facebook groups, people selling their own recipes, their own food, micro entrepreneurs basically. Um, they their own recipe of tocino. They're selling their own tocino, their own lumpiang Shanghai. You can order from them. You can just meet them or buy from their. Usually they give you their home address. You can pass by their gate or their main door here in Madrid, where I am. But we're very lucky because in Madrid there's like more than 10 restaurants, Filipino restaurants,
Very
including
cool.
Cabudel. Cabudel is one of the Filipino restaurants here. I make sure to support them. It's a really good pork barbecue.
Mm.
So yeah, we're quite lucky because when we look for some, we're craving for Filipino food. There's like I would say a dozen of choices for us.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
And obviously for everyone there back home, you can have more than that, right? You can also have like new variations of bibingka of Filipino food. What's your
Absolutely.
top? I know we're both foodies, but what's your top five Filipino food or delicacy?
Okay. Number one, I love pancit malabon. It's out of all the pancit types, right? I like malabon with the fat orange noodles, and I love the squid on top of it. I love the boiled egg on top of it, and I'll just, grab a big forkful and shove it in my mouth. I'll eat a lot of that. Of course, I love the puto bumbong and the bibingka. That's a given. But I also love um what do you call this again? Sorry. Oh gosh, the name escapes me, suman.
Oh wow, yeah,
I
that's
love
good.
suman, and I will just sprinkle so much brown sugar all over every bite, just really coat it and then put it in my mouth. That's, my favorite in terms of um viands. I would say my favorite would be kare kare. I will just eat so much rice because of it. It's crazy. I'll end up eating bowls and bowls of rice because I'm just happy with the sauce. That's it. And then the veggies, right? But I love kare kare. Yeah.
Same here. Wow, I love kare kare and suman. Even the fried one, I like frying suman as well. And I also like suman. Um, with what do you call this? The sweet, is it kaong? I forgot, the sweet jam kind of
Mm,
sauce.
yeah, 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 yeah,
It's
yeah.
like it's like leche. What do you call this?
Dulce de leche or
Dulce
something
de
like
leche
that.
in Argentina. It's dulce de leche, but we have our own, right? I think it's
Mm-mm.
kaong. I forgot, but yeah, that sauce you get, especially in the Tagalog region. That's the sauce they use. In Laguna, Batangas, the sauce they use for their suman. For
Mm.
those who don't know what suman is, it's our another variation of rice cake, I guess, right?
And banana leaf, right?
And banana leaf. I guess it's a rice cake or rice pastry of some sort.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to know more because apart from just food and culture, I want to know more about your passion
My
or different
passion.
passions. What are you passionate about?
What am I passionate about? Yeah, what am I passionate about? I think I would say what really riles me up is women's issues, really, especially being a mother, being a wife. Nothing gets me pumped up when it's talking about the issues and concerns of mothers specifically. And one of the things that I really wanna, it's not a new concept, but it's not a generally known concept, and it's called invisible labor. And it's something that I really want to spread the news about, or educate people on. And you're wondering, what is invisible labor? It's it's unrecognized, unpaid work, that is expected usually of a woman to fulfill. So, simple example, housework. you know um Housewives don't get paid for it, but they're expected to do it. They're expected to make sure that the household is up and running. The groceries are taken care of, the kids are taken care of, the husband is taken care of. But at the end of the day, who's taking care of mommy, right? And then, okay, so let me give you an example of invisible labor. Let's say mommy, who is not an income earner, approaches dad, who is the sole breadwinner, right? And says, hey, dad, hun, let's go on a family trip, right? And dad's like, of course she asks that because he's the one who has the funds to be able to pay for this family trip, right? So dad says, sure, go ahead and plan it. So now mommy goes ahead and researches on possible family destinations they could go to. Um, she researches the accommodations that they'll stay in, which one to choose from, the looking for the best airlines or the best route to get there, any travel permits they need to secure before they go there, or for them to be able to enter that destination. Is it going to be, a land trip, an air trip? Are they going to take a boat? And then, she'll come up, she'll put together all these options, right? She's planning, doing all this work to plan, right? Then she goes to husband and presents the options, and husband's like, just make sure that you choose one that's within this budget, and also choose a hotel or resort that has a lot of activities for me and for the kids, right? So mommy goes back, to all her options and tries to see which ones will fit his requirements. And finally, yeah, they choose a destination, they find the best deals, they find, she's the one who books, right? Hun, just give me your credit card numbers and let me just book our room, let me book our tickets. She saves those confirmations, so those booking confirmations on her phone, right? Or prints them out before the day of the trip, or when they need to travel. She makes sure everyone's packed, right? She packs the kids' stuff. She checks on husband's luggage, making sure that he packed his deodorant, his toothbrush, his socks before she goes ahead and packs her own stuff. The next day, travel day, she's the one mobilizing everyone. Come on, we don't want to miss our flight. Let's go. Oh, I've got the tickets here, yada, yada, yada. Then when they get to the hotel, she's the one who goes to the concierge, right? And checks in. Oh, here's my confirmation. And then every morning, she makes sure that the family wakes up so they don't miss the buffet, the breakfast buffet. And then the rest of the day, she makes sure that they have activities to do. And at night, she helps children go to bed, right? Gives them a shower, brushes their teeth, puts them in their pajamas and puts them to bed. And then maybe husband may want some one-to-one time, sexy times with a wife, and now she has to perform, right? At night. And then at the end of the trip, they come home and kids and wife are like, thank you so much, Dad, for this trip. We had a great time. And then mommy has to unpack because the laundry won't wash itself, right?
Wow.
And on and on and on. So you might think that's exaggerated, but no, that's the daily life of a mother. All that physical, mental, and emotional burden that's placed on her. But it's unregulated, it's unpaid, unrecognized, because it's simply expected by society for a woman to do all these things. So you may have heard of other terms that are related, like second shift for working mothers. Their first shift is at the office, but when they get home, they have their second shift as a mother/wife, right? All those
Yeah.
other things to take care of. Maybe look up also the term mental load, right? And how it's related to women. You can also look at the terms cognitive and emotional burden, right? Or worry work. All of these, or kin keeping also. Actually, kin keeping went viral on TikTok very recently because some young feminist studies student heard about it in class, in her feminism class. And she talked about kin keeping and it went viral because it resonated so much with mothers, with women. I recently did a public speaking engagement for a community of mothers. And I talked about invisible labor. And they cried. They cried. They were so touched because they couldn't understand why they were always so tired and so bitter. But they were just being moms. So why would they be tired and bitter for something that they're supposed to be doing, right? So it's very conflicting for them because then, it's also, I would say, what's the word? Exacerbated by mom guilt. They want to say that I'm tired. I did all of this work, even though it didn't bring in money, right? To put food on the table, I still did work. When is my me time, right? When can I relax? Or when can I be acknowledged for my contribution to the household? Just because I don't bring money, or literally, I don't add to the household income, right? So they cried because they understood and now they knew what it was called because they couldn't quite label it. What is this that they're feeling? What is this that they're experiencing? It's the concept of invisible labor and the imbalance of tasks that men and women share in a household or even in the workplace. Okay, workplace example. Manager goes to the team. Oh, so and so, Roger's retiring. Hey, Sheila, plan a retirement party. But Sheila's like, I'm not an HR. Why did this become my problem? Well, because they're all thinking you're a woman, you know how to plan parties. This is your thing, right?
Yeah, and it still happens. Definitely,
And
it does.
it happens, hey, let's do a company outing. Hey, Amanda, go plan it, go plan it. We have work to do, right? So it also happens in the workplace. It happens in various communities, even among friends. Mm, who's usually the one mobilizing friends, inviting people? Hey, let's have dinner. Hey, let's have lunch. I haven't seen you in so long. Um, would it be accurate to say it's usually a girl who instigates it? That's the concept of kin keeping, wherein it's always the women who make sure that the togetherness is intact. Okay.
Yeah, well
So
said. Well said. I couldn't agree
that,
more.
that's what I'm passionate about, you know, to really voice out these concerns and worries, especially of women and especially of mothers, because they can't quite voice it out themselves. Hence, they cry about it because they didn't know what it was. And finally, they knew what it was, right? To be honest, I was surprised, that one of the moms came up to me and she was in tears, you know. She's like, I didn't know, now I know, I was so tired and I have a premature baby. It was so hard. And then, she just bawled after my speech. I was just like, oh my gosh, I was part shocked, but also part honored that, I was able to give her that cathartic release. I think it was all bottled up, and she probably felt mom guilt that she didn't have the right to complain about, or to communicate that she was tired. Right? So what keeps me up. That's what keeps me going. That's what I'm passionate about, to be able to help mothers especially have a voice, right, and be heard.
And it's perfect that you are working in that field. You are working with the women, with moms, with parents. What else do you love about this type of profession? What else do you love about your job?
Um, what else do I love about this job? I think, it's the fact that I'm also able to work with people outside of my own country, right? Being able to, being exposed to various cultures, working in a multicultural, multinational environment. And I like that. That, it's also a reminder to me that I'm not in a bubble, that there's so many other various people out there, so many people to learn from, especially I think learning new things is what also drives me to keep going day in day out. What makes me get up. um i I don't hesitate to ask people for help, or to ask, hey, how did you do that? Right? Even though, to be honest, I'm quite shy, but because of the job, I've had to learn to be more outgoing, to be more, to come out of my own shell. I would actually prefer to just be at home, hang out with my kids, and or just hang out with, close friends. But um I like learning also. So for me to do that, I need to come out of my shell and talk to people, meet new people. Um, so yeah, I mean, it might sound cliche, but that's I like that. I like that. I think the moment I stop wanting to learn, I think will be the moment when things will just degrade. You know, my brain will stop ticking, my heart will stop beating. I think learning is very important, really.
Couldn't agree more, Carla. But how did you start your career?
Well, I started out as an editorial assistant for a food and beverage magazine. I've, to be honest, I was a very happy B student, right? I wasn't like, oh, I want to be the summa cum laude or A plus, whatever, Dean's Lister, I mean, I was happy to have a life. I was happy to learn and pass. At least I don't get failing grades, right? And make friends. But my point is that I'm driving at is I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life as an adult until my English teacher acknowledged an essay that I wrote. Back in high school, I wrote an essay about Antigone, right? The Greek tragedy Antigone. And then he loved it so much that he added it to because we had a production also of Antigone. And he added it to the program, this essay to give context for the audience, for the parents who were going to watch this play, right? This high school play. That moment, the fact that he acknowledged that, because I had never been acknowledged like that before, in terms of, my skills as a writer. That's when it made me start to think, I may have a knack for this. I may have a knack for writing. I may have a knack for storytelling. This might be my skill, and I think this is something I should hone. So that's why in university I took up English literature and communications, and then I knew that I wanted to get into the magazine world. At the time it was still magazines, right? I
Indeed, yes.
wanted to become an editor of a magazine, the editor-in-chief, right? And eventually my own publisher, right? To publish my own magazine, yeah, and that's how I started. It was because of that English teacher who believed, believed in my skills as a writer. That's how it started. That's how it sparked that idea that maybe, yeah, I should look into that kind of, that 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 path, right? That professional path. So from there, yeah, I just made sure that I was good at what I did, that I listened to my mentors. One of my most respected, and also she was also so frustrating, was, the late Sari Yap. I totally learned so much from her. She was tough. She was tough. And there are moments when you just want to yell her name in anger and frustration because she was just so tough, But I also learned so much from her in terms of being an editor and fleshing out a story so that it's not so shallow, right? And really digging deeper, adding layers. What else can we do to make this more interesting, intriguing, or unique, right? What is a unique perspective that we can explore for our readers, right? So those are the things that to this day I still practice, and so I have her to thank for that. But yeah, and then from magazine, I think at some point, I ended up in tech or in digital, right? Because I felt that when I became a mom, the company that I was in was not supportive enough of my role as a mother, or of my responsibilities as a mother. And I guess, I don't blame them. I mean, they have their own expectations. It's just that I couldn't fulfill those expectations anymore when I became a mother. And so when Roshni, our founder and group CEO, reached out to me, I felt that, hey, maybe this is a sign for me to move on, right? And explore and see how it would be like to, or see what it would be like to work for a company from another country, right? I mean, because the parent Inc. is headquartered in Singapore, so it was a Singapore company. So I was curious. I wonder how it would be, what it would be like, what would I learn from this company, and the rest is history. I feel that I was one of the first print editors to transition successfully to digital and understand how digital works. What are how to play the game, how to create content that will get you maximum page views, right? So I feel that I was one of those first editors here in the Philippines to know that, to understand SEO and how it worked, and how to create a strategy based on that. And that's why the Asian parent beat smart parenting in terms of traffic. Smart parenting is our one and only competitor here, and it's been around for decades. It's a dinosaur. It's branding wise, it was solid. When you become a mom, you buy a smart parenting magazine. Right? And I came from smart parenting too, right? So, but when I joined the Asian parent, we had to leverage technology, to beat them, right? And now our traffic is higher than smart parenting's. I remember mentioning this to you. How did we do it? It's because we produced content in Filipino. There was a gap.
Indeed.
There was a gap. When you go online, most of the content for parenting was in English. So how are we, catering to the non-English speaking Filipinos, who are more comfortable in speaking and reading and communicating in the local language. So we thought, okay, well, you know
Yeah.
what, smart parenting, you can take English, we'll take Filipino.
That's
And
a great strategy. That's a really good strategy.
so that's how
And
we did
yeah,
it. It- And
and now it's so
and
interesting. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
sorry. I just wanted to say, when smart parenting saw that we were getting the traffic and taking the traffic from them, actually not taking the traffic from them, it's just that we were getting traffic from the audience that they weren't catering to because of their English content. When they realized that that was the formula that was working well for us, they started producing Filipino content. So,
Makes so much sense.
which
So
which I'm happy about, because at least together, both platforms are able to service a wider audience together. I mean, if I'm being very sincere about wanting to help parents be better parents, great. Let's pool our resources together and help the community, right? So
indeed,
so I'm happy about that. I'm happy about that. So yeah.
indeed, yeah.
Mhm.
It makes so much sense, and it's really helpful to have a healthy competition, and to learn from your competitors as well. And now being VP of communications at a parenting company at the Parent Inc. Your team, the company you're at, um, serves parents all over Southeast Asia. Um, how has it been for you as a working mom?
Oh, well, I've been with them since 2014, right? So it means that this company has been very supportive of moms from day one. They understand that in the middle of the day, I'm not going to be available because I have to go pick up my kids from school. Right. So they see that in my calendar, out of office, and because we're a results driven company, we don't like counting the number of hours, or that you log in, or you being present at the office every day from 9 or 10 to 6 7 p.m. That's not productive for us. What we want is to maximize your productivity. And if that means you need to squeeze in some family errands, right? Personal errands in the middle of the day because you have kids to take care of, that's fine. But let's just be in agreement that we have our goals and our targets and our deadlines, right? And let's respect that. You could work at midnight if that's the best time for you to work, but make sure that by 10 a.m. the next day, you're able to send me that deck that I asked for, right? So again, yeah, we are a results-driven company, and that's what helps our employees at the Parent Inc., whether they're under the Asian Parent, Mama's Choice, or Webjeta, we support their, we support both their professional needs, and at the same time we support their personal needs, because if we don't give a balance of both, then we're not going to have happy employees, and we're not going to have productive employees, and then we're not going to move forward as a company if our employees are not satisfied or they're quite unhappy.
Well said, Carla. And why does diversity and representation matter at work? I know it does matter, but from your own experience, right? Working as a working mom, and working with people from different backgrounds.
Um, it's very simple, right? We have different needs, different concerns. And when you show, or when you provide them with a compassion and understanding about, what their concerns are, especially in the workplace, all the more that professional relationship is nurtured and made stronger, right? And all the more that your teammates will want to work with you on a project, will want to support you, right? Will want to strive for those targets that you were given from upper management, right? So it's simple as that, really. When you show that you care, they'll care for you back, right? So it has to be a give and take scenario. You have to listen to what will help them be productive members of the team. Of course, because at the end of the day, it's a business, right? And you want to make sure that your business is operating at its maximum. But for you to be able to do that, you also have to look at the human side of the business. You have to look at the people that's helping you to run the business.
Yeah, it's very helpful indeed. And I mean, it makes so much sense, right? That if you recognize people for who they are, and you basically use the differences of your team members to their advantage, yeah, they're gonna feel empowered.
There's improved decision making, there's increased innovation and creativity, there's enhanced employee engagement. All of these things put together can help to expand also your customer base, right? um so many benefits that outweigh the cons, right? So many pros outweigh the cons. Actually, are there any cons to diversity? Maybe just, just a lot of people that you have to take care of, right? But um you still need to do that. So you can't get out of that. I would say you shouldn't get out of that. You need to cater to each and every one of your employees.
Indeed. And this is very different from what we were used to, especially for Gen X, baby boomers, and even older millennials. This is very different, right? And this is something a lot of, uh, I would say all managers should be aware of, or at least something they should look at, right? How do we understand diversity and maximize it?
Yeah, I mean, really, the underneath it all, right, is really just have compassion and empathy for others. That's it. That's it.
Yes. In the end, your team members will be happier, will be
Yeah.
happy working with you, staying in the company, and producing more for the company and bringing you and the team more success. Makes so much sense. I mean, I did feel it in some of my jobs in the past. You would feel it when you feel empowered and recognized.
Yeah.
Speaking of diversity, and learning uh, from differences, traveling is such an important experience for not just us as not just for our personal lives, but also professionally, right? How has it influenced you traveling as a
Oh,
manager?
as a manager, definitely, it's something that's given me clarity in terms of what are the different nuances, culture to culture, right? You know, when I used to handle the content team at the Asian Parent, I would travel so much to visit with each and every content team in every market that we're in. But it was so fulfilling for me, even though it was so exhausting, but it was so fulfilling for me because I was able to learn what motivates or what motivated each team, right? Oh, okay, this team, they preferred uh group activities together, like going out for lunch or going out for drinks, whereas this other group, oh, they like, a little more one-to-one time. They prefer that, wherein I spend one-to-one time with them, but not as a group because they already do that with each other, right? But when I'm there, they prefer that I have one-to-one time with them, whereas other teams would want to do group activities together because they feel too intimidated to have one-to-one time with their manager, right? So again, I learned that the approach is very different for every team and for every individual. And you shouldn't impose your style on them, right? Um, I I'm I guess I would say there should be a balance. I mean, as a manager, you need to be able to motivate them. I'm not going to say push them, right? But motivate them to keep going forward and to believe in your strategy, but also to be open to their ideas. Don't let ego get in the way. No, I'm the manager. You listen to me. This is my idea. My idea will work. Your idea is not going to work. No, this is a team effort, you know. And that's why diversity is also very helpful in that way, because different people will bring in different ideas coming from different perspectives that you yourself have never either been exposed to or never really explored, right? So always be open to those ideas as a manager. Always be open to those ideas from your team, and always be able to measure your success, right? If you're not able to determine what is your measure of success, then how would you know that you did a good job? Right?
Well said.
It can be, I actually would say it needs to be quantifiable in some way. It needs to be quantifiable, because then as a team and even as an individual, you know if you've been successful because, let's say, oh, I reached X number of so and so, which was our target, or I only reached 50% of our target, but at least you know where you're at, and you're not just gauging it, guessing, oh, I think I'm doing okay, I think, but then you can't make an action plan based on I think, right? So same thing with managing your team's performance, right? KPIs are very important, OKRs and KPIs are very important, because you need to be in agreement in terms of what the goals are. Are they aligned with the company goals? And then what are the individual goals, and how are you measuring those goals, right? What are the targets? Because then it'll make it easier for you also come performance review time, right? Wherein, oh, you know what? You were only able to achieve 60% of your target. But then, if you as an employee will say, yeah, I may have just reached 60% of my quota, but you know what else? I did all these other things that were not part of my main objectives, but were assigned to me. And hence, the reason why I only reached 60% here is because I was tasked to do work outside of my main goals, right? So at least you can negotiate in that way, and you can reason out, in that way. If you have measurable goals, if you communicate those clearly with each other as a manager, as an employee, and as a manager, yeah, to be a good manager, you gotta know how best to approach each member of your team, but you got to have that standardized way also of measuring their performance and their success. But anyway, I'm already talking so much about being a manager, but because there's so much to say about it, right? There's so much
Yes.
being a manager.
Yeah.
But let's go back to the core thing to remember is to be compassionate and have empathy. I think if you start from there, you're good.
Yes. And traveling does teach you that,
Mhm.
especially for your, which is especially helpful
Yeah,
um,
because
for work.
especially if you're managing a team that's a regional team, right? And they're in different parts of the world. You need to have that FaceTime with them, physical FaceTime with them, because you know even if you have Zoom calls day in, day out, it's different. It's usually just, at a work setting, but it's nice to be outside of work and spend time with each other and just connect. Hey, what are your hobbies, right? It sounds corny, but I want to know, what do you
It
do outside of
works.
it,
It
right? What
does
do you do
work.
outside, right? So then you understand, you know, what 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 makes them happy, what makes them excited day in, day out, what helps to relax them when they're feeling stressed. Oh, you know what I know about this person is he loves cake. We've been working long hours, I'm gonna get him cake. Right? To say thank you for all that hard work, right? And so I mean, all those little things too, they matter. It's not just, again, I'm going to go back, right? It's not just also about the actual performance of your team, but also how you're able to build camaraderie, right, with your team. And traveling will help that because you get that one-to-one time and have that opportunity to build up that camaraderie.
I agree, definitely. How about with you as a person? How has traveling influenced you?
Um, I wouldn't say traveling has influenced me, not as much as it has given me a time to just decompress, you know. Um, I would say when I was younger, I did live abroad because I grew up as a UN brat. My mom was working for the United Nations and she was stationed in different cities, right? We lived in Jakarta, we lived in Nairobi, lived in Osaka growing up. So definitely in my growing up years as a teenager, it totally influenced me, right? Living in those different countries, it totally opened up my mind. It totally it made me embrace the the diverse cultures that, there's so many people out there that I have not met, and I should be open to those differences, right? That's how it influenced me growing up. These days, I love to travel because it's a way to decompress. It's a way to also just have, especially if it's travel for pleasure, and usually it's with my family or with just my husband, right? So finally, because my husband and I, we're such workaholics too. So travel for us is a way to force ourselves off of the work setting, decompress, and just, you know what, you have a life, you have kids, spend time with them, spend quality time with each other, with your family. So yeah, I mean, traveling reminds me that I do need to also take care of myself in that way, in that manner, to stop being a workaholic, to take a pause, from work, and maybe reset my mental health, and just, reconnect with the family. um, I'm excited, actually. End of this month, end of March, my husband and I are flying to Japan, just me and him. So we're gonna go watch an old metal band called Pantera. So that would be fun. Gonna go watch them, and then we're gonna spend time together, just traveling, city to city in Japan. So I'm excited for that because, especially because of this pandemic, right? This is gonna be our first international travel after the pandemic, together,
Wow.
right? I already traveled to Vietnam last year, but this year again, as a couple, it'll be our first time to travel again, and I look forward to that.
That's so exciting. Heading to Japan to watch Pantera and then visiting Japanese cities. I'm sure it's going to be a blast. And
Yeah.
yes, traveling is good for work, but also definitely it gives you some break time, right? To time to disconnect from work as well. Yeah, we all love traveling, just like with food, right? We love
Yeah,
food,
absolutely.
including eating out with your
Food is
colleagues.
also a form of escape, really,
Yeah, exactly. Yes. It's my favorite part of a working day. Lunch. And finally, Carla, what's your advice for anyone who'd like to start a career in marketing,
In
content, or
career
communicate?
or
Specifically for our audience, because a lot of our actually audience, all of the members of our audience and members of the Nomads community are in content creation, in marketing. Um, what advice would you like to start for those who want to start a career in that field?
okay. Um, I would say, it's you would need to do a lot of research, right? As a marketer and even as a content creator, because as a marketer, content creator, communicator, you want to make sure that the content you put out there, the message you put out there, is relevant to your target audience. So relevance is key in what you will do in any of these fields. If you're not relevant, then you won't connect with your target audience. So how do you make sure that you are relevant? One is, first, get to know the audience, right? And I would say, are you passionate about the same things they're passionate about? Right? You need to be interested, deeply invested in those interests, in those shared interests, I would say. Because again, you need to be relevant. They need to be relevant to you. You need to be relevant to them. If either of those things stop from being so, then it's not going to work. This relationship that you're trying to build with your target audience, it's not going to work. So yeah, really do the research, get to know them, be with them, whether, go to events and meet them, talk to them, or join online groups, right? There are a lot of them, follow a lot of these communities on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, or join, those messenger groups, right? So you get to know what they like to talk about, what they like to discuss, what they like to rant about, so that you can relate. I think that's it. That's what I would say, right? You need to be relevant and stay relevant. Remember that.
Wow, thanks so much, Carla. I had a great time chatting with you. I'm sure our friends who are following us will, learn a thing or two and more when it comes to diversity, what we talked about today, the importance of women's issues as well. And also hopefully they, we get some inspiration, right, for their next ideas, even their next trips, their next plans in life. Thank you.
Thank you so much too. I had a wonderful time eating bibingka and puto bumbong. See, I've already finished the other one. Oh, I want barbecue now too.
Oh, it's so yummy. It's legit, right? Yeah. And it's really fun to actually have food while you're chatting,
Yeah.
right? So
Next time we should have drinks also, like
next
lambanog.
time, yeah, we should have drinks, cocktails, wine, beer, right? But yeah, I really had a great time. And now let's go ahead and we'll say goodbye to everyone at Nomads, our community, Nomads
Bye,
community.
all.
And now we'll go ahead and continue with our food
Finish
tasting,
the
our
rest. Finish
merienda.
the rest of our food.
See you,
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye.
Bye.